Hello, you're listening to Count Richard Von Coudenhove kalergi. Today's the Saturday, the 25th of August, day the Pope arrived. Just a couple of comments on today. I noticed this Pope actually met the head of the Muslim League in September 2017, and the head of the Muslim League said he was delighted to have a Pope, to see a Pope that is actually a defender of Islam. Now, personally, I would rather see a Pope that is a defender of Christianity rather than of Islam. And I fear that the present Pope is actually a sheep masquerading as a shepherd. But I wish, hope the event goes well for the next 2 days, and anything that makes Colin O'Gorman upset makes me happy. But just a couple of thoughts on this week in relation to the level of immigrant crime in Europe. Sweden has now released statistics for last year, and there was actually 190,000 sexual assaults reported. There were 7,000 rapes, and of that only 142 people were actually convicted. Now, the Swedish state broadcaster, which is the equivalent of RTE, did an in-depth report for the last 5 years and discovered that 58% of the rapes have actually been committed by migrants, foreign-born migrants. Now, that doesn't take into account migrants that have actually lived in Sweden who may be second generation, which is an extraordinary figure and a very sad testimony to the lawlessness. Just a couple of other comments this week. On the 23rd of August, there was a mother and daughter stabbed to death by their son, who also injured some passerbys. That was in France before he was actually shot dead by policemen. A 19-year-old Iraqi asylum seeker who was sitting on board this huge train in Munich was woken up by a railway employee who promptly tried to strangle. In Offenburg, a Somali refugee stabbed a doctor to death in his surgery in front of his 8-year-old daughter, and the manhunt to catch him lasted 2 hours and involved 20 police cars, a helicopter and a canine unit. And in Saxony, 2 policemen were injured trying to arrest a migrant who was from Libya, and they were attacked by some Libyans and other assortment of asylum seekers. And in Dusseldorf, a police manhunt was underway for a 44-year-old Iranian migrant who stabbed to death a 36-year-old woman. So these are the kind of incidents that are happening across Europe, and our Pope, those that are of the Catholic faith, and these are the people that he actually wants us to welcome into Europe. And I think, it's about time that we really start to analyse the pros and cons of what effects migration actually has on the country. And in fact, in 2011, there was a report done by the University of Liverpool that said between 1997 and 2011, the immigrants into England cost the Exchequer 130 billion more than they actually contributed in taxes. So I think the idea of saying that these will add to the Exchequer is actually incorrect. And finally, just a note, I noticed that Leo Varadkar was over at the mosque in Clonskeagh there the other day at celebrating the feast of Eid. Now, this is the event where they actually slaughter sheep and goats, and in fact there was footage put up on Twitter the other day, which I have to say I couldn't look, and it showed goats and sheep wriggling around on the ground in a pool of their own blood. And in Paris, a suburb of Paris, the other day, they found a garage full with 32 sheep. So you can only imagine what fate was going to happen to them. And on top of that, there was other footage taken in Italy of a Moroccan that had a sheep tied up sitting in the back of a little pram. And this footage was filmed by a passerby who noticed the sheep in distress. So you can only imagine what was going to happen to that, and thankfully he was actually arrested and the sheep was freed. So there's a couple of my thoughts for today. Thanks for listening, and I see I have a new subscriber called Bill, so thanks, Bill. I appreciate you signing up. It's nice to know that somebody may find your thoughts and comments interesting, and please comment underneath and you will. I'll be happy to communicate with anybody that wants to. Thanks for listening. My thoughts are my own, and good luck to you. Bye bye.